Hi, Kieran from the Run Testers here. And so ASICS has just launched a new shoe. It's called the ASICS Metaracer. And ASICS has joined the lineup of carbon plated shoes. There's another one, hooray! More carbon plated shoes coming this way. These ones are brand new out today. We've not had a run in them, but we're here to give you our first reaction to how the shoe looks. We've got some details been sent over to us, so let's have a quick look around and we'll give you some feedback on what we think of what we know so far. So in the past 12 months, we've seen ASICS produce quite a number of new shoes, and they've all been fairly exciting when we've first seen them, and they've brought some new tech into play. So we've seen the Meta Ride, we've seen the Glide Ride, we've seen the Evo Ride, and we've seen the Nova Blast. Now the Metaracer looked from the outset initially like they're going to follow a little bit more like the Meta Ride and the Glide Ride with that GuideSole technology and a curved base. So that GuideSole technology, actually, they say it has, and I'm going to read off the sheet here because it's their terminology, I've only just seen it. They say it has an improved toe spring, and that essentially the idea here, we've seen it with the Meta Ride where they're trying to increase the efficiency of your running. That is supposed to reduce the load on the calf muscles by 20%, which, you know, over a marathon distance, if you can put lower load on the calves, that's really going to help you. So it'll be interesting to when we get to test these shoes to see how that works. The other thing we've got, actually, obviously the big news, surprise, surprise, we've got a carbon plate. Who isn't going to have a carbon plate in their shoes by the end of this year? I doubt there'll be anyone left. Now we've got a lightweight carbon plate here that is going to run the whole entire length of the sole. We don't know how tightly sprung that is. That's another thing that's going to be interesting to test. We've seen some be more kind of more rigid and more propulsive than others. So if you take the Next Percent versus a Hoka Carbon X, for example, there's a different sort of levels of tautness in those carbon plates. So I'm going to be interested to see how that shapes up. On the top, you have an engineered mesh upper. I'm hoping that this will, well, obviously, compared to the Meta Ride, which is a pretty heavy shoe, this is going to be a lightweight mesh upper. I would imagine that it's going to help us get down to that really, really lightweight, 190 grams for this shoe, which puts it up there with the Next Percent and among the lightest shoes that we'll have tested in recent years. So according to the information that we've sent, the midsole is Flytefoam technology. We've seen that before in ASICS shoes. It's not Flytefoam Blast, or at least that's not listed here. So it's standard Flytefoam. That'll be another point of interest. Is that foam really up to scratch compared to like a Zoom X or the foam we see in the Nike shoes in combination with that carbon plate? That's one to watch. We'll be checking that very closely. You have a 9mm drop in the men's and in the women's. So just to confirm those weights, you've got 190 grams in a US men's size 9 and you have 155 grams in a US women's size 7. So that is a light shoe. So on the outsole, we have something called ASICS Wet Grip and the ASICS Wet Grip Rubber Sponge. And that is there to help with traction. Looking at the bottom of the shoe, it's covering a decent chunk of the shoe. It goes right from the forefoot almost into the heel. And so that's possibly a lot more rubber than we've seen on something like a Next Percent. But again, we'll have to wait and see how that runs. The other really interesting thing here is if you can see the silhouette of the shoe as it sits on the ground, it looks like a Meta Ride. So the Meta Ride, we saw the toe lifts really off the ground. There's a good amount of space. I mean, it looks from the pictures like you could probably slide a matchbox, if anybody keeps matchboxes anymore, underneath the toe, and it'd still be sort of not contact with the shoe and the ground. So it rides up, and that, I assume, is going to get you up onto your toes. It's not clear though, you know, the Meta Ride really was designed to help people who were sort of more natural heel strikers rather than forefoot or toe strikers. It's not clear from the information here that we've got whether or not that's the same, or we've got a shoe here that is going to naturally help you up onto your forefoot and support kind of forefoot runners. What this is though is a shoe that's built lightweight for racing long distances, and that, you know, it's a really welcome addition. We've wanted to see new shoes that come in and compete at a little bit of healthy competition for the Next Percent and give Nike a run for their money for a while. And it's nice to see more and more brands getting into that space, and we're going to be looking forward to having a run with these. So then there's price. So interesting, the Metaracer is coming at £180 in the UK. It's going to be really interesting to see how they stack up against the other carbon-plated racing shoes that we've seen in recent months. £180, that's 70 quid cheaper than a pair of Next Percents. So it could be a massive bargain if these shoes do anywhere near what they're supposed to do. So can't wait to get to try them. If you've got any things that when we do get a sample, we want to know what you want to know about these shoes. So hit us up in the comments below. Tell us what you would like to know about the Metaracer, and we will endeavour to test all of those things and give you all the information you need. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, ring the bell so that when we get our full review out, you'll be notified and you can come and take a look. Cheers guys, I've been Kieran, and that is the Metaracer, an exciting new shoe from ASICS.